So the Raiders did it. The Raiders did it. I just got home and breaking news, the Raiders actually did it. Pete Carroll and the Raiders actually fired our offense coordinator, Chip Kelly. And one side of me is like, good. This should have been happened. And the other side of me is like, damn. Is it really all on Chip Kelly? You know, there's a lot that go on with my thoughts on this team and just everybody in general, you know, from the offensive coordinator, the offensive line head coach, offensive line coordinator, our head coach, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith over here. And we'll get into all of that. But Chip Kelly gets fired by the Raiders, and the Raiders just announced a statement not too long ago saying, Pete Carroll said this: I spoke with Chip Kelly earlier this evening and informed him of his release as the offense coordinator of the Raiders. I would like to thank Chip for his service and wish him all the best in the future. Yo, Pete Carroll, I don't know, man. You know, Chip is bad. Chip was bad this year. The Raiders offense, I never thought that the Raiders offense could get any worse than when we seen from when we had Luke Getsy last year. Heck, when we had Josh McDaniels, I didn't think it was going to get any worse than that. But every single year, every single offensive coordinator that we brought over here has gotten worse and worse. And Chip Kelly, who the Raiders brought in this year after winning a national championship, the Raiders paid him $6 million to be the offense coordinator for this team, to see what this offense can do with a veteran quarterback, with some solid weapons. We brought in Ashton Jeanty. Heck, this is the guy that tried to change Ashton Jeanty's stance when he first came over here. Heck, we got Brock Bowers. You wouldn't think that the Raiders would be bad, but damn, 12 weeks in, and the Raiders offense has been one of the worst offenses, if not the worst offense in the NFL. And this is something that I recently talked about, because I was never on board with firing Chip Kelly at first, but seeing these last 2 weeks and how bad the offense has been, especially the play calling and just the game planning going into those games, and just watching this game today against the Cleveland Browns, who aren't world beaters, but against the Cleveland Browns, the Raiders were put in different situations. The defense gave the offense some chances to go down the field and at least do something with the rock, right? We got 2 turnovers, an interception by Charles Snowden. We also got a forced fumble by Jeremy Chin, but what did the offense do? Not a damn thing. We didn't do anything at all with those turnovers. And then you go to last week against the Dallas Cowboys, when Max Crosby early in the game got the strip sack. What did they do in the red zone? Not a damn thing. We settled for a field goal. So this is something that has continued to go on and on and on. The offense has continued to be bad. And in this game against the Browns, something that I was really frustrated with watching in today's game was the fact that when it was 3rd and 18, when it was 3rd and 24, 2nd and 18, the Raiders would just run the ball in shotgun. What? It don't make sense. And that goes right back to Chip Kelly and his play calling. And he didn't help himself at all. Now, I don't think that everything, all of the struggles that the Raiders have had on offensively falls on Chip Kelly. But he's a guy that, I mean, his days in the silver and black was numbered. And the same thing can be said for Pete Carroll moving forward. I'm not going to harp on Pete Carroll too much right now, but as far as Chip Kelly, he was bad. And the offense has been bad. And we've seen it. We've seen it these past couple of weeks. But you also got to look at the offensive line. You got to look at Geno Smith as the quarterback. Has not been doing his thing. And I know everything cannot fall on Geno Smith, because the offensive line at the end of the day has been bad. And hopefully that's the next move that Pete Carroll has got to do if he wants to keep his job with this team, is fire Brendan Carroll. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. Offensive line has been horrible. Understandably so. We lost some of our key pieces on the offensive line, but nonetheless, they have been bad. Geno Smith has also been bad. Chip Kelly now has been fired. So the Raiders can't blame everything on Chip Kelly anymore. We got to move forward and see who the next guy is going to be. I don't even know who the interim offense coordinator is going to be moving forward. It'd be funny if they made Brendan Carroll the offense coordinator. But at the end of the day, it's no excuse for how bad this team has been. No excuse. The only person I feel like it should be safe with their job is Patrick Graham. Other than that, I feel like everybody's kind of on the chopping block with how bad the season has been. The Raiders right now is 2-9. 2-9. We just seen a Browns team that has been able to call a much better game offensively than this Raiders team. Much better game with a rookie quarterback that only got 1 week of practice with the first team. And they look much better than us. I know the Raiders recently fired Tom McMahon, and he was part of the problem. Chip Kelly's the next one on the chopping block. He was part of the problem. Now, the other part of the problem is Pete Carroll. It's Geno Smith. It's the offensive line. And when you're paying somebody $6 million, you would expect them to do a lot better. And when you're paying a veteran quarterback as much as you guys are paying him right now, you expect a lot more out of Geno Smith. But Geno Smith like I said over and over and over again, I sound like a broken record at this point. It's not that guy. And I know I was asked this question on the live stream, and people were asking me at the stadium, do you think that Shedeur Sanders would do better behind this offensive line? Yeah. I think so. I think he'd look better than Geno Smith. I'm not going to say by a lot, but he'd look a lot better. It feels like Geno Smith has lost all confidence. When we see Geno Smith even trying to scramble, that's one thing that I praised him for coming over here to Las Vegas, was the fact that he can actually use his legs. He's actually mobile. But we haven't seen that. He looks like a deer in headlights when he's running out there. It looks like he just is scared to run out of the pocket. We've seen it in this game when he got past the first wave of defenders. He didn't know what to do and fell before we got into the end zone. We seen it last week against the Dallas Cowboys, looking like he's going to run into the end zone just to fall down. Geno Smith doesn't have that dog in him. He's not the franchise quarterback for this team. And the fact that Pete Carroll is just so infatuated with him so much, it's really mind-boggling to me, and it's really frustrating to watch out there. At this point, I was in the stadium and there was actually fans cheering for AOC. I mean, that shows you how bad this team has been. That shows you how bad the quarterback play has been. That shows you how bad the offense has been playing. And we thought it was bad with Jimmy G. We thought it was bad with AOC. We thought it was bad with Gardner Minshew. Heck, we thought it was bad with Derek Carr. But no, this is lower than low. And Chip Kelly is just part of that picture. But he's not the full picture. I don't know how the Raiders offense is going to look moving forward, but I don't think that this is the end all be all for who's going to be fired and who's going to be on part of this team moving forward, because I think Chip Kelly, yes, was part of that problem, but he wasn't the full problem. Geno Smith is a problem. Offensive line is a problem. I want to see Pete Carroll make a tough decision, whether it's benching Geno Smith or whether it's firing Brendan Carroll as the offensive line coordinator. I know that doesn't really do much, but he ain't doing his job. And if we're going to keep everybody accountable, you got to keep everybody accountable, not just the people that you feel like you can just throw under the bus. Now, the only thing that I will say about Chip Kelly is I kind of wish that we could have seen Chip Kelly with a different quarterback. That's all I will say, because we will never know if he was really that good or really that bad. But he also shot himself in the foot with the way he was calling these plays. So yeah. Now, a funny thing is, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of comments, a lot of people telling me, yo, you seen Geno Smith flip off the fans? Hell no. I was actually with the person who shot that. Shout out to Raider Jesse. I was right there in the front. He recorded. He's like, damn, I caught it on camera. I said, damn, it does look like he flipped off the fans. I don't know the whole interaction between that, but you can tell that Geno Smith, he's got the Raider Nation under his skin. And I don't even blame Geno Smith for flipping off the fans, because I know us Raider fans are just as ruthless as any other fan base. But when you're not going out there and you're not doing your job and you just look horrible, you can't blame the Raider fans for being mad at you. And then you can't blame Geno Smith for wanting to retaliate and just flip off the fans. Heck, if I was Geno Smith, I'd flip off the fans too with how crazy they've been talking to you. But you're the one that said, hey, put the blame on you. Now, if you were to ask me why Chip Kelly was fired, I blame Geno Smith. And I think rightfully so, because Geno Smith, if he was a better quarterback and doing a lot better in this system, maybe Chip Kelly still lives to see another day. But moving forward, I don't even think that this coaching staff is going to make it to the end of the year. I don't think that this coaching staff is going to be the same coaching staff that we see going into next year. I don't think that Pete Carroll is gonna make it to next year. And that sucks for me to say, because I'm one guy that continues to say that I don't want to continue to move on to different coaches because we don't have no stability. But if the Raiders are going to try to build something up for the next couple of years, I don't rule it out of the possibility for Mark Davis and for Tom Brady and even John Spytek to fire Pete Carroll at the end of the season and let go of Geno Smith and move forward with something new or somebody else. Now, I will say, I wouldn't want the Raiders to pull Geno Smith just yet, only for the fact that the Raiders are slowly moving up the draft board. I think right now we're sitting at number 5 with the 5th pick overall in the draft, according to Tankathon. So, hey, if we're going to continue to lose, I guess we just got to lose. And Geno Smith is going to be one of those reasons why we continue to lose. I just want the Raiders to win in LA. That's all I want. I'll be a little selfish right now. I want them to win in LA just so we can have some bragging rights. Other than that, we could lose the rest of the season. I don't care. But Raider Nation, let me know your thoughts on Chip Kelly getting fired by the team. What a crazy day, crazy night. The Raiders lose 24-10 against the Cleveland Browns, against the Shedeur Sanders, who went out there and showed everybody that he belongs in the league. And I give it to Shedeur, man. He did his thing. He flashed out there. Then again, you're playing the Raiders, so it's not that big of a deal. So it is what it is. But Raider Nation, let me know your thoughts on Chip Kelly getting fired as of today. What's the answers moving forward? Who do you guys see being the next or interim offensive coordinator moving forward? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until the next video, this your boy Simone Raider, and your boy is Yow.